I'm Captain C.C.Corey. Come with me and experience some of the most action-packed and adrenaline-filled fishing that North and Northeast Florida has to offer. We fish for everything from huge bass in freshwater to monster tarpon in saltwater, and everything in between. If you like seeing awesome jumps, if you like the sound of a screaming drag,
shit, gosh, man,
if you like seeing big fish, well, you just might have found your channel. So sit back, relax if you can, and let's see what we can hook into today with the North Florida Angler. Hey guys, C.C.Corey here, North Florida Angler. In this video, I'm going to show you my 3 favorite lures for finding and catching redfish on those high tide stages when they all but disappear. Now on the lower tide stages, redfish tend to school up more and are generally easier to locate and catch. But what do you do when the creeks flood and those schools break up and they head out onto the flats? Well, you need to get on your trolling motor and you need to cover some water. And you need to throw lures that you can fish fast and that don't get snagged much in the oysters or the grass. One lure I like to use is the Redfish Magic Spinnerbait. Here it is right here. I like to use the one in 1/4 ounce, and I like the one that has the chartreuse rubber body and the one that has the white rubber body. Also, I like the ones that have the gold blade. Now the way I fish this lure, I'll just cast it out over top of the oyster beds, the flooded oyster beds, and just reel it slow at a steady pace. And every now and then it'll bump an oyster, but with the hook it rides up high and it doesn't get snagged very much. Also, the thump 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 of the blade, of the spinner blade, I think it helps those redfish zero in on it a little better, especially with the darker water that we have this time of year. I think it helps them find it better. But there's the lure right there, and the redfish will knock the devil out of it. Another lure that I like to use is the floating rattle trap. I like to use the 1/2 ounce version, and I like to use the one that's gold in color. Again, gold is a good color for redfish. For some reason they really like gold, and with most of my search lures, I try to make sure I use ones that have some type of gold in them or all completely gold. But this is a great lure. Also, it has a rattle chamber in it, and again, I think that helps those redfish zero in on it better. The way I fish this lure is I just cast it out over the flooded oysters just like I did a spinnerbait, and I just reel it right across them, and when it hits a oyster, I just stop reeling, and usually it'll just float right off of it. If it doesn't, then I'll just hold the rod tip up kind of high, jiggle a little bit, and that usually does the trick. How do I know when I get a hit? Well, when I hit an oyster and I stop reeling and all of a sudden an oyster tries to yank the rod out of my hand, pretty good bet a redfish has got it, and that's a good time to pull back. Now, something that you need to make a note of with this plug is these hooks are very sharp, but they're made out of light wire, and they will bend on you. So make sure that you loosen your drag down a little bit more than normal and really play the fish. If you do that, there shouldn't be any problem. Now, last but not least is an oldie but a goodie. It's the Johnson Weedless spoon. And I like to throw the one that is in 1/4 ounce or 1/2 ounce. And again, I like to use the gold color. What I love about this lure is it'll cast a country mile. And it's probably the most weedless lure of the 3. It just bumps right along the oysters, doesn't get snagged very much, and it goes through the spartina grass like a hot knife through butter. And it's my #1 choice for on windy days. You can cast it right into the wind with no problem. The other lures don't cast as well into the wind, especially the rattle trap. Now, the way I rig these baits is I like to fish them on 12 to 15 pound braid, and I like to use a short section of fluorocarbon leader, about 15 inches or so, and I will tie the 2 lines together with a uniknot. And then I will tie the fluorocarbon leader to the lure using a loop knot. Now the exception is with the Johnson spoon, where I would normally tie the uniknot with the fluorocarbon and the braid. I'll put a swivel in there and I'll tie both ends of it with a clinch knot. and that eliminates a lot of your line twist that you get with the spoon. All right, guys, those are my top 3 lures for high tide redfish. I guarantee you, if you use these lures, you're going to catch more redfish on those tough high tide conditions. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the North Florida Angler. Until next time, tight lines, good fishing, and we'll see you out in the water.